Aloha, fellow travelers. So, not much in the trucking news today. Let me adjust my camera a little bit here. Ooh, that's better. So, just practice maneuvers today. Um, Intending to do that pretty much all week. Hopefully, more and more practice, more and more better. Passy, passy, red hat. But I did want to come on here for one thing that I think is really good. There was a leaked decision from the Supreme Court, allegedly. So we won't know until, of course, it actually is officially put out. But it seems that they're preparing to overturn Roe versus Wade. This is a wonderful thing. Now, I don't want to overdo it because overturning Roe versus Wade is not overturning all abortion laws, and by abortion laws I mean the legality of abortion. It's not outlawing abortion. All that does is it puts the decision into the hands of the state. So that means each state would be able to pass whatever abortion laws they want to pass without the federal government having any sort of restrictions on what can be done. Uh, that's a great thing. That means that if you have a state that wants to completely outlaw abortion, they can do so. If you have a state that wants to allow abortion in all cases, they can do so. Now, personally, um, I would prefer to see all abortions outlawed. Uh, I don't see any valid cause for it. There's always people who want to come up with things such as, what about if the life of the mother is at risk, or what if it was rape, what if it was incest? For one thing, as Ben Shapiro's often said, and Matt Walsh and many others at the Daily Wire have often said, if we go ahead and allow for abortion in cases of rape and incest only, would you be okay with doing away with all other abortion? The answer is always no. It's not really about that. Frankly, when it comes to the rape conversation, I hate rape. I think rapists should be executed. I believe in the death penalty for rape. I don't think the baby should be executed because of the rape. The baby didn't rape the mother. The rapist did. So I think if you're going to say we need to allow for abortions in the case of rape, 100% of abortions in the case of rape, you need to execute the rapist too. Otherwise, you're not really against rape. You just want to kill babies. And I'd say that firmly. You don't want to kill the person who did the thing. That's not okay with you. That person is worthy of life, but this baby isn't, because that's more trauma for the mother. Who caused the trauma to the mother? The rapist did. And I've talked to people who will literally say that they're against the death penalty. They don't want to see a rapist executed, but kill that baby. That's ridiculous. Now, it's a difficult thing. It's a horrible thing. But that doesn't mean that a baby deserves to die. And it is a separate life. It is a separate person. The DNA is not a match. If you were to take those aborted remains and do a DNA test, it won't come back as a body part of the mother. It will come back as a relative. It's a separate person. And it's not going to grow into an office lamp. It's not going to grow into an armchair. It is a human being. All right. It may not have fully developed limbs and lungs and everything at a certain point, but unless it's interfered with, it will. By nature, it will. When it's talking about the life of the mother, I believe the life of the mother should be preserved. There's a difference, though, a huge moral difference between, say, someone has an ectopic pregnancy and will very likely die and bleed out if the child grows, right? The embryo grows and bursts the fallopian tubes. That's where the ectopic pregnancies take place, when it doesn't go all the way down to the uterus. So there's a huge difference in acting to preserve the mother's life, and the tragic result of that is the loss of the child's life, and acting with the intention of ending the child's life, ending the pregnancy for the sake of ending the pregnancy. So if a woman has cancer, and I've known people who were born to women who were undergoing cancer treatments and chose not to get those treatments in order to not endanger the life of the child, right? And that put their life at risk for the cancer. But treating cancer with radiation or with chemo in order to save the mother's life, and a tragic result of that is the death of the unborn child, is far different than going in and cutting the child up and vacuuming it out. It's far different than in the cases of like partial birth abortion, allowing that child to get to the point where it's being born and then stabbing it in the back of the neck and sucking out its brains to kill it, just so the child won't live. Right? So for me, I would say outlaw all abortions in every case, right? Because terminating an ectopic pregnancy to save the life of the mother, that's not an abortion for the sake of abortion. Again, the goal of that is not to just get rid of a child, it's to save the mother's life. The goal of, treating a woman with cancer, and the result is, or any other disease, medication to legitimately, not she chose to go out and get high and the baby died, right? But treating a legitimate treatment with legitimate medication to preserve the mother's life from a disease, that's not an abortion. The abortion is a secondary effect, and it's not a good effect. It's not the desired effect, right? So I do hope that this leaked decision is made formal, that it's actually put out formally and becomes the new ruling. It doesn't become law. They're not legislators, but it does become the new interpretation of law. I read a couple of pages of it. I can post a link in the description, and it's interesting. It's 90 pages long, so I didn't read the whole thing before I posted this. But they go on, in their first few pages, they go on to say, look, abortion is not a constitutional right. Even the people who advocated for Roe versus Wade did so knowing that there was no actual right to abortion. And when you lean on things like due process for arguing for abortion, where's due process for that unborn child? Right? So unless you're willing to execute rapists, miss me with the whole what if it's rape situation. That's you're not genuine. Unless you're willing to execute the rapist, you have no cause to say anything about, well, we should do this. No, I'm not hearing it. That's like me saying that I should be able to execute a child because someone unrelated to the child did something to me. I don't, instead of punishing the person who committed the act, you want to punish an innocent third party. Absolutely not okay. This is great news. It's my hope that my home state of Kansas, if this is made formal, this is made the actual standing interpretation of constitutional law, that I'm hoping that my home state of Kansas will completely outlaw abortions. I would be absolutely for that, 100%. I hope that many other states do the same. I know that there are some out there that won't. California absolutely will not. New York, no chance. Illinois, no. They will be havens for abortion, and of course many others. Sadly, Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I love the state of Hawaii. Of everyone I've ever known, Native Hawaiians, people from Hawaii, I love them dearly, and individually they're wonderful people. But there's some evil stuff that goes on there. Years ago, I read a story about Planned Parenthood. Was seeking young women. I can't even really say women because it was seeking girls under the age of 18 to perform abortions on for the sake of studying the bleeding patterns and things like that. Why were they not seeking these women out, these girls really, to get them out of the situations that landed them into being pregnant? They're underage. Likely, they're being sexually abused. And Planned Parenthood wants to just study bleeding patterns after abortion in girls this age, 14, 16. How disgusting is that? They should be seeking to help these young women get out of abusive situations, and yet they just want to use them as guinea pigs. Or I should say wanted. This was years ago. It's in the past. Although I have no reason to believe attitudes have changed. Anyway, that's really all I've got today. I just wanted to come and talk about that and put out my unscripted views, which would explain, why I kind of repeated myself sometimes, and the ahs and ums and everything like that, hesitation, stuttering. Didn't write anything out beforehand, so this is just my unscripted thoughts. I'm pretty excited about this. So I'll see you down the road, and God bless you wherever you go.